Hello everybody, welcome back to the chase for the fluffiest of cups. This is the Simufur LMP2 iRacing Championship, and we are here today at round 4 here at the Red Bull Ring. I'm Paliku'i Grant, that racing dragon, joined by Wolfin Foxdale and Suzuka Shark for commentary in today's race. Red Bull Ring, known for being nice, quick, and lots of sweeping and tight turns, it's definitely going to be a challenge today. Suzuka, we are here now at quite arguably one of the quickest tracks here on the calendar. What do you think drivers are going to be expecting today?
Oh, for sure, you have those straight lines. Yep, straight line speed down into, of course, the main straight, exiting turn 1 and exiting turn 3. Those are very long straights, which can definitely help coming into the slipstream and maybe giving you a dive bomb. Hopefully not a dive bomb, but a nice pass down into the corners, such as the turn 3 hairpin of Remus or Schlossgold after we're at that. But yeah, this corner, this track, well known in Formula 1 as the Austrian Grand Prix, with LMP2s, which kind of have similar terms with being very light and being keen on downforce. I'd say we're probably going to see something really exciting. What do you think, Wolfin?
I think it's going to be especially interesting. Ironically, this is the first track that I actually commentated on when I was with Jordan Johnson for the F1 Championship. So I have a mild experience with this track. It was very interesting with F1 cars. I definitely expect the same to be with LMP2 cars. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, and definitely. As we see everyone coming out here, taking their laps, I believe in qualifying now as they're just starting out. We got a decent grid for you guys today. Of course, the story of today's race is going to be who can take their first win here in the Simufur LMP2 Championship. If you guys have been following us from the beginning, Jordan Johnson, who is unable to make it today, he's been absolutely dominant throughout the past few races. From Okayama to Laguna Seca to just a couple of weeks ago in Sebring, he's absolutely held on to that top spot for all the races so far. But now the door is wide open for anyone to take it. Can Dex, one of the drivers that has been behind and chasing Jordan's tail from the beginning, finally take his first win? Or can somebody else rise to the occasion? Akash has been looking very strong through the season, and he may very well, if he can hold on to the top spot, might take his first win. Of course, as we know in racing, anything can happen, and I'm really excited to see who can really jump up to the occasion. Anybody that you think, or a shout out you might want to have to someone that could possibly take it today, Wolfin?
I kind of am in agreement with Akash maybe taking this, but another person I actually believe that could do this is Chloe. They've been more or less on the pace, and really this whole, with the smaller size, this grid is actually going to be not, I wouldn't say spread out, but I think there's going to be less chance for incidents, and which has been more or less plaguing Chloe this entire season from Sebring and Okayama. It's been a rough one, and I think with the less cars on the field, it's going to make them a little bit better. For me, that's my opinion at least.
Yes, and of course, we've seen Chloe, from Okayama from the last broadcast, he had a few really good battles with a few of the other drivers. And then, of course, we saw him in Sebring, going off track a little bit for what was to be a double overtake and being a part of that one. Chloe certainly has the pace, certainly has the drive. It's the question of, can Chloe keep it together all the way to the end? And we're definitely going to see that today. As we take a look at our timings now, Akash on the top board here with a 120.83 or 120.829 more specifically, as he comes around the final corner, Red Bull Mobile. And another thing with Red Bull that can really become a factor is those off tracks. Now, iRacing, it's not really a well-known secret per se, but more of a frustration for everyone that coming out of turn 10, which is Red Bull Mobile, the track limits there are very finicky. If you just nick your tires outside a little bit too far in that green area, it'll give you a 1x. And in qualifying, that could mean the difference between getting a really fast time and no time at all. Knowing iRacing, though, I mean, Wolfin also, is there another way that you could possibly get around this course without having to even worry about that, as we see Akash pull over?
You're probably gonna just have to play the safe game. If you know the track and you know where the limits are, then you'll know where and when to push. However, if you're new to this track and you're still learning it, your best bet, especially in qualifying, is to just not push too hard and stay safe. That way, the less incidents you have, the less likely you're going to get disqualified or get a time penalty. Yep. So, I believe the best strategy for the ones that are experienced, they're going to probably push as hard as they can. And the ones that are still not entirely comfortable with this track, they're probably going to take a safe route and maybe try not to push a little overly hard and ruin their lap on a technicality like an off track.
Yes, and you know, knowing these drivers, they're all pushing it to the edge to the best of their abilities, and sometimes that just means you run off course. And I mean, as we see Akash, I mean, he stuck those tires in the gravel a little bit there, coming around Roush Bend there. And he comes
up, stuck him even more.
Yeah, even further and worse. So I mean, you can see that, you know, even though you can put up the fast time, it's still difficult to really hold it. Now, we're going to come across, and we're going to actually ride on board with Akash here as we get a lap here, and I'll guide you through one lap of the Red Bull Ring here today. So, coming across the start-finish line, we're going to head into turn 1, the Niki Lauda curve. Very tricky braking zone. You want to hit it just right, because you can't hit, as you see, Akash hit the sausage curve on the outside. Then, of course, you get a long, nice, straight, and a slight bend into turn 2, coming into the hard braking zone of Remus. Now, there's going to be a lot of overtaking opportunities right here, trying to get in and dive on the right turn, but you got to just hold it to the apex as you come out here. Going to Schlossgold curve, a tricky one that goes downhill, a tight right that then opens out. You want to get a nice gliding turn as, Akash goes a little squiggly there, but manages to hold it. Coming around through here, Roush Bend is next. You want to just dab on the brakes, let the car glide into the apex coming out, and not go too far as you hit Worth, is the very next corner here. Leads into turn 8, coming out, another wide turn, and I think Akash is going to pull over. We're going to go ahead and slap on board Danny, who's right in front, coming around to Rint curve again, and then Red Bull Mobile corner, turn 10, the final corner, as you cross the start-finish line here at the Red Bull Ring. Now, as you can see, going through the track, there's a lot of green areas and a lot of runoff, but that's the thing about pushing the cars here on this course. You do have the opportunity to push as hard as you possibly can and not worry about hitting grass or hitting the wall, but it may cost you. iRacing does implement slowdowns if you really try and push too hard on those exit points, and who knows, we might see that today, guys.
Oh, 100%. And I think with the smaller field, people are going to be maybe a little bit more daring because they think they're going to have the room to do it. Granted, yes, you would like to have more people, but maybe on occasion you'll have like a smaller field. So we'll just have to see where it goes.
Yes, and so far we have Akash in first with still the 128.29 he set earlier, but not too far behind is Dex in a familiar position in second, not even a few hundredths away with a 129.81, followed by Lunar with a 121.013, Danny with a 121.4, and Dominique Ford with a 121.8 rounding out your top 5. Then we have Mo with a 122.1, Chloe with a 122.6 to bring up 6th and 7th place. Then Moonstar with a 122.996 and Blade Wolf with a 123.5 to bring out your field here so far as we reach the halfway point in qualifying.
Ooh, a little loose by Danny as we wrap up, and he's gonna come in.
Yeah, he's gonna just set it there, getting loose there, and especially the bad exit. That's gonna ruin any sort of chance you have as a fast lap. So possibly just gonna go out for another run. They still have quite a bit of time, 10 minutes left to go in qualifying. So Dex still with the potential to improve as we watch Blade Wolf. You could just see getting grip coming out of that turn, out of Ramus' corner. I mean, that's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, despite this track being a very high downforce track, as we see Blade lock up a little bit, this is a high downforce track, so this would very much bode well for these LMP2 cars. It does not mean that you're not prone to either human error or needing a lot of grip. Anything can happen.
And of course, as you see, I mean, from the top 3 alone, if you look at that, they're not even separated by 0.2 between them. They're within 0.2 of each other. So the battle for whoever can take their first win here is certainly going to be alive and well. And I'm looking forward to see what these drivers can do on this quick track. I'm predicting, and I'm hoping that this prediction comes true, that there's going to be a lot of overtaking opportunities coming out right here through Niki Lauda Curve. If you time it right, you can get a good run all the way up until Ramus Curve. But it's still going to be tricky. You still got to hold on to your line. And it's going to be an interesting case to see where these drivers will want to defend, as we see Blade Wolf just locking up again. You can just see, I mean, even with a decent time, you still have a lot of issues when it comes to pinpointing exactly where you want to put the car.
I would say the first few sectors where you have the straight line speed, you definitely do not want to be leading, because the cars behind you, you are punching a big hole of air for them for their extra top speed. So it's definitely interesting to see if there will be a slipstream train by the race.
And meanwhile, as we were speaking of the slipstream, excuse me, I cannot speak correctly today. As we see from the train, Lunar comes out and he sets a 120.853. We're not even over 0.03 of a second between first and second now.
No, not at all. This is going to be a very interesting race. I think this is going to be a very interesting race. Pit strategies are also going to be a big factor in this one, because you're definitely going to want to try to either overcut or undercut the guy ahead of you, and strategies are probably going to come into play. Anything can happen, and it's going to be tight. It's 100% going to be tight.
Meanwhile, James Husky, out of nowhere, leading his lap, he sets a 121.4 to put himself one place above the top 5 in 4th place. Just coming in after, I think he left for a little bit, and just setting a nice flyer. Well done, James.
Yeah, I guess he went to get a soda break, came back in and is like, all right, time to go to work. Yeah, I'm going to set a P4 immediately.
Meanwhile, I mean, you have James there, and then you have Cash, your provisional pole, right behind. But James is on a hot flyer. He wants to take the lap. I'm not sure if he's going to let him by. That may lead to Akash to wait and try again later. I mean, even here, just a little bit of drama. Even with just 10 cars on the track, that's still going to be close.
James, I think, may have gone a little bit wide coming in.
Not sure if that's going to count as an off track, but he's still holding the lap. That makes me assume that he's going to keep it going. No, it probably was an off track, so he's going to let him by, and he's going to try again.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. That looked like it was going to be one heck of a lap.
Or they're going to both dive into the pits. Okay, all right. So they're going to reset and try again. Lunar on his outlap now.
Oh, a bit too deep on the inside there, I think.
Little bit, but Lunar is on an out lap, so this lap will not count for time. Just looking at it too, I mean, if you look between first and third, you have the differences there, just less than like just about over a tenth. And then you see the difference between fourth, fifth, and sixth, I mean, less than half a second. It's, as I was saying, I believe back in Sebring, I mean, you have, even with the top level drivers and the midfield drivers, it doesn't matter where. There is a race to be had. There is something to be done, and that's, again, one of the lovely things about this league. The competition, no matter where you stand, you're gonna have someone to fight.
And I also want to point out 7th, 8th, and 9th, it's the same thing. A little bit more, not about a half a second between 7th and 8th and 8th and 9th. So something very well could also come from that. So
meanwhile, I think Dex went off track shortly. Let's just go ahead and take a look, see what happened to him. I think he was on a flying lap, and he just, I believe, went off here. Let's take a look. He's coming into Worth Corner, coming through, and did he go a little wide there? Oh, he did.
Yeah,
Ooh, nice spin. And, yep, he's into the wall. So, yep, he's going to have to try one more time. And now we're getting to the point where we're starting to run out of time. We have 4 minutes left here in qualifying, and so they need to complete their laps now.
Oh, I think Lunar's back. Has Lunar backed out?
I think Lunar has backed out. I think waiting a little bit. There was a driver in front. And so we're going to take a look here. Right now, I mean, the difference between first and third is less than the time it takes for a snap to dissipate in the air.
Yeah, apparently.
So we shall see if any of them can improve coming out here.
Let's see.
So we got a Cash. So he's not improved on his lap so far. As you can see the timings below. Dex hasn't improved on their lap as well. Blade Wolf in 10th, doing their best, continuing, has gotten a green sector 1, but hasn't really improved from there, so we'll see. We're looking mainly, though, at Dex, Akash, and Lunar, as you see here. Can any of them improve their times? We're going to find out.
Yep, here we go. I think Lunar is on an out?
I believe, no, this is a flyer from Lunar, as you can see.
Yeah.
But Lunar has just not been able to improve their time so far in Sector 1. Can they get a green in Sector 2? I mean, they're on the edge right now. They are absolutely close to...
It's a yellow, so no improvement. It's going to be the same.
And as we see, Akash in their lap did a 1:23.3, so they're slow right now. That might have been a setup lap for this one. Now, you know, another thing we haven't mentioned too is that this is a fast, high downforce track, but what that means is the tires are going to be really worn. They're going to be really working on this course. And, you know, looking at pitch strategies, do you think that's going to affect things so far? Because as we've seen from the leaders in the first race all the way up till now, taking tires, we see Lunar get a little loose and hit the sausage curb, but that's definitely going to affect the time. Meanwhile, James had a green first sector trying to improve and a green second sector, but still hasn't managed to improve their time, just a 10th off. Oh, so close. You can tell that they're trying hard. They're definitely giving it their all out there.
May I point out now, Akash fastest Sector 1. Can they improve upon their time?
We'll see. Their Sector 2 wasn't too great, but Akash is still moving through it. Coming down between Rint Corner and Red Bull Mobile. Turn 9 here at the penultimate corner at Red Bull Ring. And the Red Bull Mobile, here he comes around that corner. The last one. Let's see. Ooh, that's going to be borderline whether or not that was going to count. It was a 120.
Says
it did count with a 120.717. He manages to push it a little further. I think he was trying to go even harder, but I believe that may be it. That's provisional poll so far, looking really tough to beat out there. Akash setting a really nice time.
Oh yeah, that was a beautiful time. I actually thought they weren't gonna make it, but thank goodness that counted. That gave them almost a full 10th from Lunar.
Yes, no, just really a full 10th. We see James heading through the last corner here. James Husky putting up impressive time so far. And that was an
Another
improvement.
personal best.
A personal best of 121.412, but not enough to push further as we come to the closing moments here. Blade Wolf rounding their lap with a 124.13, and I think they're going to try for one more. I believe they're going to be able to get it. I don't see anybody else out of the pits right now, so this may be the last of the qualifiers. So we're going to go ahead and watch Blade Wolf here, see if Blade Wolf can...
A bit too wide.
And maybe locked a little bit hard, but there's still a lot of time to be had, so there still could be an improvement. We shall see. Now, I was mentioning earlier before we saw a cash in that flying lap. I mean, the tires Blade Wolf's going to pull off, so that's going to be it. All right, so as I was saying, the tires are going to be a factor here. And because it's a high downforce track, I mean, so far we haven't seen any of the leaders or those up front really take tires for the race. Do you think that's going to change today?
I think it will. I think one or two people may take tires just for the safety's sake, because if you really want to do well, you want some grip, maybe that extra few seconds for getting tires is worth it.
Yes, and I mean, it's about seeing how well the tires can perform throughout the lap. Normally, with higher downforce tracks and higher speed tracks, the more the tires wear, so it's more of a matter of, will it wear enough so that it would be a significant downside to not take tires? And we haven't seen that play out yet.
No, I mean, in other races, yeah, really the smart thing would just be to take fuel. But on a track like this, where tire scrubbing is very much a real problem, that may be a time waster. So maybe the smart thing to do would be to take tires. We're just gonna have to see when the pit strategy comes up.
Absolutely, because while we do have like long straights in Red Bull Ring, this track also has quite a lot of medium speed corners that will definitely be hard on the tires.
Yeah, certainly. So what we are waiting on now is we're waiting for the final results to come in. And as I say that, they have. So let's go ahead. We'll take a look at your grid here today to start today's race in the Simufur iRacing LMP2 Championship. So, with a pole time of 120.7, a cash on pole for today's race here at the Red Bull Ring, followed by Lunar with an impressive lap after that, taking second place and your front row here today. The row right behind Dex in third place, followed by James Husky. And Danny with also a decent result. I mean, coming through and making sure that he can actually place in the top 5. Pretty impressive. Followed by Mo, and that's going to be your third row here today. Dominique Ford taking 7th place, and Chloe in 8th. Then Moonstar 9th, and Blade Wolf in 11th. And we're not sure. Zeem is grid up 11th. However, we did not see them set a qualifying time. So we shall see if they actually join up here. We hope so, but we're not sure until the green flag flies. So that is your starting grid today. Again, a cash with such an impressive time. I mean, we saw him coming out of that corner, and that was really pushing the edge.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They were giving it everything they had. As we see them line up, here we go. Pace car is out, and away they go. So here we go. Let's see what happens.
And so now this is half a pace lap. So they are starting from Worth Corner, and they're going to come down Rent and then Red Bull Mobile. Now, the leader here does have control of the start. However, iRacing does throw out their green flag, and that's what you're going to see on the lights at the top of your screen. So some of them are trying to warm up their tires, but it's not really going to do much good. It's a very short pace. So we're going to see all the drivers come down here and get ready to start today's race here at the Red Bull Ring. Who is it going to be? Who is going to take their first race in the Simufur iRacing LMP2 Championship? Who's going to take their first win as a cash floors it coming down into the straight. He gets a decent start, but Lunar is right behind, coming to turn 1, dives to cut him off, and we have a 3 wide between James, Lunar, and Dex, but Lunar gets the better of it. James has to hold back, and Dex holding back into 4th. So far, so good, and we got a good battle on our hands, guys, coming into Ramus' turn.
Slipstream.
You can see that slipstream. Lunar is just on the back. Meanwhile, back there, Chloe is making a move. He's trying to come through. Ooh, side by side with Dominique as they come through there. And Chloe just manages to get on, but he's got to be careful with the slipstream. Coming back up forward. Akash, here we go. Coming down into Schlossgold corner. A difficult one for most drivers, but making it here with the cold tires. And Chloe, oh no, I think Chloe is spun.
Oh no!
Chloe has spun. Oh, that's unfortunate for Chloe. Just a decent start. We'll have to take a look back at that as we come through Worth corner for the first time here under green flag conditions. Akash still holding it forward. And oh goodness, Chloe, just a good start to the day. Just utter heartbreak with the spin. Let's take a look back and see what happened. So this was shortly after we left off. This is Schlossgold corner. Did something happen to Chloe coming into the corner? Oh, locked up the brakes and had to divert and just hold out. So not a spin, but still not hard to see after you've worked so hard to get there.
Yeah, what was it, a lockup or was it? I couldn't really.
I think it was a lockup and then an abort as Dex makes a move on James, just makes the pass coming through there. Must have had a great run through turn 1 as they come in through into Schlossgold corner again. You can see already you got Lunar and Akash battling for 1st and 2nd, and Dex and James battling for 3rd and 4th. Action all over today, and we've just started.
Yeah, absolutely, and things are starting to settle down just a little bit, for now at least. Gaps are being made and the tires are warming up, so we're gonna have to see where this goes. But at the moment, everything's more or less stabilized. I haven't seen, as I say that, Danny's making a move on Mo, getting closer and closer. We're to see, is he gonna try to maybe make a move at Red Bull corner?
We're gonna take a look. Danny, of course, trying to get through there. Danny goes wide. That is definitely an off track. We'll see if that's a slowdown coming through Red Bull Mobile. Doesn't get the exact run as we see Akash set the fastest time of 121.4. Of course, there's a lot of race to go. But as you can see there, the slipstream definitely coming to effect. Danny, if you get a good run here, hits the curb. That's going to affect the line, and that's going to affect the run out there. That's very important. That sausage curb can ruin so many runs and attempts to pass.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there's another sausage curb on the inside of that corner as well.
Danny has to be careful as well. Dominique is behind as well.
Oh yeah, he's got Dominique right there. And it's now a three-way, it's become a two-way battle to a three-way battle.
Yeah, exactly.
Coming into Schlossgold.
Dominique hits a spin, manages to keep it together, so he's going to keep going. Meanwhile, going back to Danny. Danny's getting closer, trying to hold it onto it, and I think Blade Wolf from behind is going to get by Dominique. Oh no, they're just fighting at this point. Oh, look at that.
Oh, Blade Wolf.
Oh, Blade Wolf.
Oh, but
holding on the inside. Going to Worth corner, and of course Dominique gonna make it work, but has lost so much time through that.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's mayhem everywhere. I spoke a little too soon, I think. Oh,
Danny gets a great run through the straight.
Oh,
looks like Mo has to go defensive. Danny's holding the outside, coming into turn 1. Nicky Lauda curve. He's gonna try for the switchback. He's gonna go through it. He gets a decent run. Here he comes. Down, going into Ramus corner. He's gonna take the left side. Coming across. It's gonna be the outside for the Ramus. Can he hold it? Can Danny hold it and make it past? They're gonna be too wide coming here into the Ramus corner. Tight through, holds the outside, but Mo manages to keep it defensive for now and still holds 5th place. but it's not going to be easy as Danny's going to try for another move on the outside, coming to Schlosskode. Can Danny just outbreak him? No, he's playing it safe, and, you know, I can't argue with him given that this is an hour race and we're only 5 minutes in.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, and insanely smart on Mo. Going into the previous corner, he stuck it on the inside and did not budge. He let Danny by, knowing full well he was going to get him on the apex, and it worked out perfectly because Danny actually went wide.
Yeah, so we're going to ride on board with Danny here. I mean, we can see what's going on. You can take a look at the closing speed here and just trying to hold on to the track as much as you can. Oh, he goes a little wide. That's going to open the move up.
He went...
And Danny makes the move on Mo. I believe Danny has this one on the inside, cuts in front, coming into turn 1 into the Niki Lauda curve, and Danny gets the move done, capitalizes on the mistake, and now he just also has to hold off from Mo.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate, but now he's got to climb up a little bit, and I'm wondering with Dominique, I noticed earlier that they also got a little squirrely going out in the Mobile 1. I wonder if their tires are scrubbed, like very badly scrubbed from that spin.
Oh, meanwhile,
and as I say that,
Dominique, I think something might have happened to Dominique. Dominique falling further back in the order.
Oh no!
Yes, he's come to a stop. He might have locked his brakes coming into Remus. We're gonna have to take a look at that. Let's take a look back, see what happened to Dominique on that one.
All right, so you have Dominique minding their own business. Yeah. Coming to turn 3.
Oh, he possibly just locked up his rears. That's exactly what happened. He locked up his rears, and he had to spin. Ooh. Might have made a slight contact. He comes back around. Oh, right in front of, I believe that was Moonstar. Wow, one way to get back on up. Thankfully, everyone was okay.
Yeah, that was a little dangerous. I also think that there was a little bit of tire scrubbing involved because I didn't see any puff of smoke from the tires when they locked up. I didn't really see anything lock up. I think maybe the tires gave out on them.
It could have just been as Dominic, he's going to divert to the pit lane, possibly get some more tires. We'll see here. Coming back to Mo. Yeah. Mo is still on the tail of Danny, while still 8/10 down. Danny hasn't gotten clear yet, so we shall see.
Yeah, let's see where this... They're Mo's kind of trying to reel him in slowly, but we'll have to see where it goes.
Yes, and also, as you can see further up, Dex is on the tail of Lunar and still trying to catch up there, but Lunar's holding pace. This is where what we were going to see if they could hold their pace through these sweeping corners.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I was just looking at our timing sheet. Unfortunately, Dominique has decided to retire. I guess it was a little too much. Maybe they had damage. I don't know. But that is very unfortunate.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. And, you know, things do happen in these races. But, you know, still with an hour to go, plenty of race still left. And, I mean, what a start. I mean, even within 8 minutes, we've had a couple of passes, battle for second place, battle for fifth. I mean, plenty of action.
Yeah, definitely been very interesting, and not a lot of people have gotten away. The biggest gap I've seen is between James and Danny with about 5 seconds. It's the largest gap that I've seen.
Thereabouts. I mean, and even with the lead, I mean, Lunar is still trying to hold on to a cash. If Dex wants to make it work, Dex is going to have to pass Lunar at some point. But I think at the moment, Dex is just trying to save his tires.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's going to try to get him on a pit stop. Maybe wait for them to pit and then try to get him on an overcut. Maybe...
We'll see as Mo inches ever closer to Danny here. Just trying to get it. I think Danny may be having some trouble with his tires. As you can see, Mo is just closing the gap ever so surely. And that's the thing. You cannot, even with executing the move, you cannot just hang back. Danny gets a horrible exit, and now Mo is really within the slipstream. Gonna really nail it here. We'll see if he can get another run from Red Bull Mobile corner here and possibly redeem himself from the mistake he made for when Danny passed him.
Yeah, and it looks like it because they both went down to the same exit. Is he gonna try to outbrake him?
Is that a lockup or no?
No, I don't think
quite.
so. Mo went a little
Ooh,
wide. Yeah,
little
a little
wide.
bump.
But, yep, Mo is going to be fighting, and I think maybe that's what Mo wants to do. More just put pressure on Danny, as Danny put pressure on Mo the last time, and force Danny to make a mistake. As we've talked about before, that is definitely a good strategy to utilize here.
Got a bad exit.
Oh, Danny got a horrible exit. It looks like Mo is on the back, possibly going to try for a move. Will Danny go defensive? No. Is he going to go for the dive? No, they think better of it.
Yet.
Meanwhile, up in front, James Husky has fallen back. He's lost. Oh,
a lot of time.
It's lost a bit of time here. It looks like I'm reading on my timing screen. Something did happen to James. We're gonna go ahead and just quickly look and take a look at what happened to him. We'll see if it was actually a spin out. But it didn't look very bad.
The
there
rear
it
end
is.
kicked out
Yep,
of him.
there it is. The rear kicked out, but thankfully for him, he was in a decent position where he didn't lose anything from it.
Yeah, he lost a lot of time, but that was it. Unfortunately, the other thing. Ooh!
Oh!
As my point proven, I think those tires might be pretty screwed up right now.
Yes, a little hot after that lap too.
Yeah, which is going to be a big problem because that might put him in striking distance for Danny and Mo.
As you saw them behind there coming into Ramus Curve, I mean, they are there. They are going to be knocking on the door, and James is going to have to pick it up, find some way to make those tires work. I mean, it didn't look like there was any damage. It was just a spin as, he's being really careful. He has to over slow, and that's going to make Danny come even closer. As we can take a look right on board with Danny. You can see on your screen way far there is James. I mean, he's just struggling throughout each corner. And those tires, they did not like what happened in that corner when he spun.
Yeah, exactly. I also wonder, maybe he has some undercarriage damage or something, because it really feels like the car is just insanely understeered.
You can just see he's losing 10th after 10th after 10th. He manages to pick it up here coming through Red Bull Mobile, but yeah, take a look. I mean, Danny on the interval screen coming down within 2 seconds, and he was 5-6 seconds back just a bit ago.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder what... I'm still curious as to what happened. Ooh! Danny he cut into the sausage curb, yeah.
Cut into the sausage curb again, and then you can see there, that went from inside 2 seconds to outside 2 seconds, but I think James is picking up the pace.
Yeah, I think he's starting to finally get his tire. Maybe he had they were really overheating. He's now just trying to cool them off a little bit. But yeah. I don't think he's going to have much more time to cool them off.
Oh, but meanwhile, Dex up in front, really close. Lunar must have made a mistake. Dex really trying to hold it off here. Let's see if they can hold it. This is the fight for second place. Lunar and Dex. Dex been on behind Lunar since the start of this race. He wants this position. We shall see. Will Dex hold off and try the push after the Red Bull Mobile curve? Here we go. Come down Rent. And to Red Bull Mobile. Ooh, he goes a little wide. Shakes off a little bit. Oh, goes wide on there as well. And loses all that time. And that's just how brutal it can be. One moment you're within striking distance, and then the next you're back to where you started.
Oh, yeah, but the
thing... as Lunar goes wide! I think that's a slowdown. That was really wide on Lunar. We'll see. But, wow, Lunar manages to hold it going over the sausage curb completely.
Yeah, barely managed to save it. That almost could have ended horribly for Lunar, but thankfully they were able to just save it and keep going. But unfortunately, that's good news for Dex, because that time lost in the Red Bull Mobile, they regained from this.
Yes, and so now the battle has been renewed. As you can see, I mean, every little inch counts. Every little mistake somebody can capitalize on. It's just a matter of trying to hold in as best you can.
Yeah, and I think Akash is probably thrilled about this because now Akash can just keep cruising and doing what he's doing without having to worry about being chased because Lunar's now being chased.
Yes, but I mean, as you take a look more back, Danny has gotten a little bit of gap between Mo, maybe a little bit of a no man's land. 2 seconds between separates from him to James and from Danny to Mo. So possibly everyone's settling down in the midfield right now.
Yeah, I think James was able to get their tires nice and to a good temperature, and I think the earlier mistakes were just from the tires being so warm and him maybe just pushing a little bit too hard, but hopefully they don't run. Oh, as Danny goes wide again!
That sausage curb is just eating them up today. I am honestly surprised with as many times as they've hit that sausage curb. They haven't done anything to their car. They haven't spun out there.
Yeah, it's a good thing. If this were ACC, you'd be yeeted into oblivion and probably upside down on your roof.
Yeah, Dex, I mean, he's again now within striking distance of Lunar. Just now, I think he may be a little bit more conservative. Try and hold it in. Don't want to go too wide and ruin your run, so just want to hold and put the pressure on.
Yeah, I think at this point, it's just play mind games. Look at what your opponent is going to do. You're close enough to where maybe you get them on the pit strategy, or you play enough mind games to where they make a mistake. It's just going to be a matter of time at this point.
Yes, and of course, I mean, we don't really say it too often, but on tracks like these, little mistakes on these corners are even more exacerbated. You have more of a likelihood of losing your position because almost all of these turns lead out to very fast sections.
And as we say that, Lunar went wide, super wide, and Dex is going to take full advantage because they had an almost near perfect exit, and they're going to get him on turn 3, maybe.
Oh, brakes early, possibly trying to get Dex off guard, but Dex is having none of it. Got a great run. This is possibly the move here, coming down into Slosh Gold Curve. He's going to take the outside. He's side by side coming into this turn. Who will break later? Dex on the outside, side by side.
Oh, concede,
and Lunar
saving it for later.
manages to hold it. Good defensive play on Lunar, knowing where to place that car, but he's going to have to do it again as Dex is going to hold behind and he's going to want that position. Let's see how long they can hold off. Meanwhile, Danny got past James. I think James spun out again, but we're going to hold right here for now and see what happens coming down through Rint and Red Bull Mobile. We'll take a look at that in a bit.
Yeah, it's the mind games continue because I almost want to say maybe Dex maybe conceded a little bit to either let them buy and just try again at a later date, or maybe see if they could do it, and when they realized they couldn't, they just opted to back out.
All right, let's go ahead, and while these two still duke it out, let's go ahead and take a look at what happened to James. I wonder if it was that same corner again that got him. Oh, it might have been. He's coming into Schlossgold corner, and I mean, we've seen this once before. He comes in, and he just locks.
Oh.
He manages to take it. He probably might want to take a pit stop after this, maybe grab more tires, because that is just not working out for him.
Yeah, I agree. I think the tires they're just gone. I think just from all the sliding that he's been doing, trying to recover, it's just the tires are gone.
Yeah, and I believe James now is in danger. Mo is right behind as James comes into Schlossgold Curve again. He just that one corner, he cannot hold it. He manages somehow to not spin out. And he manages to hold the position, but Mo right behind, ready to pounce. Here he is. We're on board with Mo coming through, and just you can see how much James is struggling. Look at how he's trying to get that car straightened out. Mo is probably going to try and take the inside. Holds in, makes the pass, but they're side by side, and James has no choice. He's diving into pit lane. And wow, just that's how much one of a few mistakes can just change the complexion of this race. But
here's the thing, and I think if James plays this right, The smart thing at this point would be not only get tires, get fuel, get something good out of this, because you will be the first person to pit, and you can then make a recovery drive. With how large this field is, or how small this field is, you might be able to get yourself back on the lead lap if you're quick enough.
I think he'll stay on the lead lap. We shall see where Akash is at this point. I mean, Akash, we haven't heard much of him, but he's been driving an absolutely splendid race so far.
Yeah, he's just been in his own little race right now, doing his own thing, and I don't think James is going to be able to get out in time. I didn't expect. Ooh. Yeah, a little wide.
Meanwhile, we're going to head back to Dex. Again, the battle is brewing here. They're coming out from Red Bull Mobile Corner. Here is the run-up to Turn 1. Dex, I mean, he's managed to keep that car behind Lunar this whole time. Oh, they almost loses it to the sausage curb. We're getting a lot of entertainment into Turn 1, let me tell you that much.
That sausage curb is going to be nice, and it's going to be pretty freaking dirty by the end of this.
It's got a lot of rubber holding off. And as we see, James Husky has just left the pit lane. So yes, he is no longer on the lead lap, I believe.
No, he will not be, but he did make his pit stop, so he will have enough fuel, and he's probably also got new tires, hopefully.
I do want to say this, though. I mean, looking at the drivers we have so far, Blade Wolf started from 10th here on the grid and is now in 6th place. And it just goes to show how being consistent really helps.
Yeah, consistency is key. Suzuka, I think you and I both know what happens when how much consistency is important.
Absolutely, and no one is as good as consistency, at least to me, in the silver class in ACC as Blade Wolf. He's quite a solid driver when it comes to consistency, and has quite some racecraft, and can definitely bring out the good results.
Meanwhile, Mo had a little bit of a moment earlier. We see that he went off track. Let's just take a look and see what happened to him. Zonbo with Mo. We're coming out of Schlossgold corner here, coming up to Rauch. Let's see what happened to him. Oh, he just went really wide.
Into the gravel.
Oh, and he manages to hold it and not hit the wall. Wow.
And not get buried either.
Wow. That was certainly a Code Brown moment, for sure.
Yeah, and I think what you and I were discussing earlier may come into effect. I think it's almost a forgotten conclusion at this point. Tires are probably going to become part of the strategy as well.
He cuts in. Woo! Manages to hold that too. I think the tires didn't like the gravel either.
No, I don't think so.
Wearing out quite badly, as we saw. I think it was James who had the worst end of it.
We've seen this before, Dex on the cusp. And meanwhile, as that battle's brewing, just want to note, Moonstar and Blade Wolf, they're coming into a battle too. We're actually going to go ahead and go down to Moonstar. I mean, Moonstar, a quiet race so far, but now has a chance to pass for position here, catching up to Blade Wolf.
Yeah, getting really good times. We haven't really seen... Huh?
Is that Dex? Dex is approaching rapidly.
Dex is approaching rapidly. This is coming into, I believe, Ramus. He's going to go for the outside 2x2 here again for second. He's late braking. They're still side by side. He's still holding it. He may have the position.
He's got it.
Did. Lunar has to let go, and Dex finally, after 23 minutes of battling, manages to get past Lunar and finally takes second place. The question now is, can he hold it?
Yeah, I think at this point, maybe all of that pushing, keeping Dex back has finally come to haunt him. I think those tires have finally had enough, and I think Lunar did the smart thing, let them by, call it a day, and then get them on the pit, maybe on a pit strategy if they go for tires.
And what a move by Dex there. I mean, that's one way to do it. We're going to go ahead and go back to Moonstar here as they come in through Ramus corner. And Blade Wolf, let's see if Blade Wolf holds it off, or if Moonstar will make the dive. It's still a little bit far back, but they're getting closer within striking distance.
Yeah, they're getting closer and closer. Is he gonna try to outbreak him? No, coming into Remus.
Not really, but the key here is trying to see if you can capitalize on any of your opponent's mistakes. I mean, Dex just putting the pressure on, and all credit to him managing to make the pass, and now seeming to get a gap onto Lunar, and now here with Moonstar with Blade Wolf. But I wouldn't count Blade Wolf off. Blade Wolf has been very consistent this entire race, and I would assume that Blade Wolf is going to make the smart decision here if Moonstar gets any closer.
Yeah, Moonstar, though not an ACC driver, has been doing a lot of iRacing. So this is going to be more or less a battle of... I know Blade doesn't often do iRacing, so this is going to be a very interesting battle. And as they come into the...
Moonstar get the good exit. Oh, no, it doesn't look like it. Moonstar did not get a good exit coming out of there.
No, he didn't. And the gap stays the same as they come up to turn 3. Is he going to try again?
Oh, Blade Wolf locks. Comes in. Oh, they make contact. Moonstar spins. Is against the wall. It looks like Blade Wolf is going and moving on as Moonstar also does. I'm not sure if that damage is going to affect anything.
No, it was a very light touch, but it was enough to send him around. Almost sent Blade around. And I think right behind them is James.
Yeah, James
who is trying to make
back, but what a move. I mean, trying to push it in on the inside, but just coming out, just couldn't hold beside Blade Wolf on that one. We'll take another look from Moonstar's point of view as we take a look at the replay here. I'm sorry, this is Blade Wolf's perspective. Give me just a moment. We're going to go ahead and take a look from it. So as we can see, Blade Wolf does a major lockup coming into the turn, and Moonstar just... I don't think there was anywhere Moonstar could go there.
No, hard on the throttle.
Yeah, just a bit. Let's get a good look at Moonstar's perspective. Here we go.
Yeah, so here you go. You're coming into turn 3, and then he locks up. You can see it right on the inside. He's coming in.
Oh, he's turning. Yeah, I'm not sure if Moonstar could have really done more.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, that's just a tough one there.
I almost want to also go under the impression and say maybe Moonstar was already trying to outbreak Blade, and the lockup came at the worst possible time, which threw Blade off, and it just caused him to kind of go right into Moonstar.
Yes, just looking at that, I mean, it was an unfortunate hit there. But, you know, when things happen, especially, you know, you're not in control of what the driver in front of you is going to do. And sometimes they're trying to correct a mistake as well. I mean, we saw Blade Wolf lock up. But, you know, things happen in racing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what makes racing entertaining. Is, you know, one little mistake can cost you everything.
We're actually going to... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
But here comes the next question. Nobody... other than James, to my knowledge, has pit. So I wonder if the next question becomes, when are they going to pit? Because we're just about at the halfway mark. And maybe the smart thing would be to get maybe an early pit strategy.
We'll see if anybody does that. I mean, if the only person that may take advantage of that is James, as we go back here and we see him moving on Moonstar. We're not sure. I'm not sure the damage was significant. That was very light on the wall there, and a very light tap to Blade Wolf. But as you can see, I mean, James is now making up, going from, I believe, what was a lap down to coming through. I believe he's made it back to the lead lap, or did he actually make it out before a cash?
Maybe he did. I don't know. It doesn't say he's a lap down.
Yes.
So
now, you know, James is on the recovery drive, and, you know, we'll see the strategy come out to play. As you can see, he made Schlossgold corner there. That was the corner he was having a lot of trouble with.
Yeah, I think he did the smart. I think he did get 4 new tires and probably fuel and called it a day. And now he's just on a massive recovery drive.
But don't forget, I think James definitely has to take those tires all the way to the final minute. So they've got like more than 30 minutes, more than half the race to conserve these tires. So
Yeah,
hopefully
and
they
you
can do
cannot
that.
push too hard. You push too hard, you're going to wear out the tires even more and make it even more difficult to get to the end.
Yeah, and we've already seen, even with half-hour stints, these tires are not liking this. We see another lockup from Blade.
Oh, and just like that, Moonstar and Blade and James are all together coming into turn 2, I believe.
I think
but
Moonstar just let him by.
Yes, I think that was a
Moonstar
very smart
wisely.
decision for Moonstar
Just
to
not
let
worth
James
it.
by.
Oh, I think James locked up a little bit.
I think he did as well. Now we have a 3-way battle for 6th.
Yeah, here we go. Down in the Sloshko corner. Is it going to be... We're going to see what happens. Is Blade going to let him by?
We know
No.
James
James
has
is
the
biding his
pace.
time.
We know
Yeah,
James has the pace. He just has to wait for the opportunity. But will James try and force the issue or wait until the straight? Again, anything that James does here to affect Blade Wolf is also going to help Moonstar out.
Exactly. Or it could be a detriment to both of them if they collide. That would
very
be,
well be.
That would be very disadvantageous, but it could happen. Here they come down.
Oh, he goes really wide, and
Blade's
Blade Wolf
going
is
in.
diving into the pits.
Yeah, that was some dive, and I think it threw off James just a little bit.
I think it did. I
Because-
think James was going for the move, and then Moonstar and Blade Wolf, well, just Blade Wolf manages to hit into pit lane. So here we go. The strategies are starting.
Yeah, the strategies are starting. I think James now has a little bit of a Brown moment, because he definitely went wide going into Red Bull Mobile. I think he was not expecting that at all. I don't think any of us were expecting that.
No, but
I did see the blinkers come on.
I
though.
believe that was a very smart move on Blade Wolf's part. And the reason is that if you have someone that is guaranteed faster than you, they've already pitted and they're catching up to you. Don't really fight.
Oh,
Ooh.
no.
And James,
wobble.
Same issues.
corner again, sliding. Oh, he's just having all sorts of issues. Not able to keep the back end straight on that corner. And it's been affecting him the whole race.
I wonder, and this is just me throwing it out there. Do you think that maybe he had an incident on lap 1 when they took off? I don't think so, but it almost feels like he may have some aero damage.
I'm not
It's
sure. But we're going to go ahead and back here as everyone is settling just a little bit. We're going to go ahead and take a look at Dex's pass for P2 that happened a few laps ago. Let's go and take a look
Moonstar
at how
goes shaky in the
Whoa.
Red Bull Mobile. Yeah.
And Mo is also sitting in the pits. So we're going to go ahead and take a look because right now the big pass of the day so far is Dex's pass for P2. Let's take a look at his onboard and see how he got it done. So he just had an amazing run coming into Ramus here. And just look at that. The bravery of having to be alongside and to hold the outside here. I mean, that's quite something.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're not running something like, say, Crew Cheat to tell you, is this man still there? You have no idea where he is. So that could be scary for anyone, especially if you don't know where the guy that you're trying to pass is.
Yes, and I mean, just credit to the drivers being very respectful of each other too, and of course that just makes for really good racing.
Yeah, you take the risk, and sometimes the risks work, and as we've seen with Blade and Moonstar, sometimes they don't, and that's just how it is. As we see James coming into Red Bull corner, I believe Moonstar has not pitted yet. So the only ones that have are Mo, Blade, and James. So it's going to come to a point where we're going to start to see the strategies come into play. And I wonder, I'm looking at the times now. And if the tires do come into play, I'm wondering if James is going to come out in maybe P4 or P3.
It's definitely going to be a question of whether or not to take tires, because it looks like through the splits I'm looking at, if you take tires and fuel, it's going to be around 56 seconds. So if Danny were to pit now, James would come out in 4th place.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as James can actually keep pushing the pace, it's looking very likely that once Danny pulls in, James might have a shot at pulling not just ahead of, I think, Danny, but if he pushes really hard, he may be on the cusp of getting Lunar, but that's going to take a few mistakes from Lunar.
Yeah, I agree, and but we've seen it happen before, and this circuit has been very abusive to tires, and with James pitting so early, at that point.
Meanwhile, Akash has pitted. Akash has pulled into the pit lane.
Yep, leader is pitted. Let's see what they do. I wonder if they're going to go for just fuel or fuel and tires.
Let's take a look. If we see them go up on jacks, they're definitely taking tires.
Just fuel.
Just fuel. Ooh, very aggressive here. We'll see how much that affects the time coming out. So as we can see, Dex and Lunar have gone ahead. But
quite a risky game.
A risky game indeed. And it doesn't amount to very much. I believe 10 seconds is the difference here. But he has just taken fuel. And so his pit stop time total was a 49.9. And versus James's 56.38. So it looks like you get about 5 seconds without tires. I don't know if that's going to be enough.
Unless Akash is conserve the tires well enough.
I almost want to say he did, because remember, he's been on the lead the entire time. He's not really had to push or be overtly aggressive. I think he saved the tires enough to where he feels like he can just run them the rest of the race.
Certainly can. I mean, if he runs the pace he's been running, then he definitely has it. But, I mean, still, that's pretty aggressive. Oh, as we see, I believe that is Mo running really wide, about to get lapped by, I believe that's Dex, our new race leader here.
Yeah,
he's letting him by for the pass.
Yeah, Mo's just gonna let him by because remember, Dex hasn't pitted yet. He'll get his lap back once Dex goes inside.
Yeah, I mean, but you can just see how, you know, you're coming through these corners and how it really affects you. We've been seeing and watching, I believe, you know, James just struggling for grip coming into Schlossgold corner, and I mean, it's a tricky one. It is a very tricky one.
It is insanely tricky. I mean, this is really giving me flashbacks to F1 Red Bull Ring and the amount of action that we saw there. This track does not disappoint at all.
Meanwhile, we're going to go back to James, as we were speaking of earlier, getting closer to Danny. Possibly going to make the move. We'll see if he makes it after Niki Lauda curve.
Yeah, is he going to try to dive in on turn 1? No.
Just making sure he's in the mirrors, but he gets an amazing exit coming through here. Now, just behind him, we'll see if the slipstream can carry him through, or if he's going to be conservative here.
Has Danny stopped, though?
Is he out of fuel, maybe?
No, I believe... No, that's Danny right ahead we're seeing in the green. Oh, as James really gets loose there. Doesn't lose much time, but... Oh, that one-stop strategy at the very beginning may come back to bite him if he keeps sliding around.
Yeah, he's still having so much trouble. I don't know what it could be, honestly.
I wonder if it's a setup issue. I honestly wonder if it's a setup issue and it's just he's just too loose on the acceleration. Because that's what it looks like. Every time he tries to accelerate the car, the rear end just kicks out on him. And he tries so hard to get it back into position.
Yeah, I think the rear end is just everywhere on this car. And it's not helping him at all.
Oh, but he's really on the back of Danny now. Oh, he loses it, and he slams into the
Big
wall. Big wreck coming out of Red Bull Mobile, and I think that's James's race done and dusted. Oh, he was struggling all race trying to get those rears in, and it finally caught up to him there.
That
Yeah,
failure definitely catched him off guard.
Oh,
he almost hit Danny going into that corner, but he had to hit a little bit of oversteer, which he's been struggling with all day, and unfortunately, he just locked up and right into the wall.
We'll take a look at that one more time. Just a really hard crash coming out of the last turn. So you can see here, he's really close to Danny. He gets really wide. The rear end just comes loose
Snap of
and
oversteer.
snaps right back into the wall. It's just nothing you can do at that point. Wow, what? Oh, just as with Chloe, what heartbreak. I mean, you were top 5, and to slam into the wall like that after you've been struggling to keep pace all that time, I mean, it's got to be devastating.
Yeah, and I think and unfortunately James is now out, though had he gone into the pits, he would have had a quick repair, I think. I don't think he used it.
I'm
for
not
the
sure.
tires.
He may. I don't know. I'm pretty sure he did not use it for tires, but he'll need to tow back to the pits. And I still, after trying to come back and having the pit strategy that you've had, it was just going to be a really big uphill battle. Meanwhile, we do see Dex and Lunar up ahead, both pulling into the pit lane. So the question now is, can Akash get back up to the front? He may be able to. We're going to see here.
Yeah, and here comes Dex. Is he going to go for tires?
He does
not
not
look
look
like
like for
fuel.
tires. Just fuel. Same thing with Lunar. Will Lunar go for tires? No, Lunar is also not going for tires. But here comes Akash. He's coming down into the straight, and he's definitely going to get by them both. And he retakes the lead here at the Red Bull Ring.
Yep, and Dex is just now leaving the pits, but he's not going to be able to get any time off of him.
No.
Akash is just going to wander off and keep going back into the lead.
Yeah, but Akash, I mean, good drive so far. And now, all Akash needs to do is bring this to the finish. That's all he needs to do.
Just keep it on the track and make sure nothing bad happens, and they'll be okay to go. And so far, I think the only one that has not pitted is a Moonstar at this point.
Yeah, Moonstar is... No, I believe Moonstar did pit. I believe pitted earlier. I believe on lap 27, so a few laps ago. So Moonstar has done their pit stop.
So that's everybody that's done their pits. So at this point, it's just a race to the finish.
Exactly. This time it's just a race to the finish. However, you know, again, this is what consistency lands you. I mean, looking at Moonstar, again, starting from 9th, I mean, now up until 6th, and of course, looking back at Blade Wolf as well, starting from 10th, and now in 7th. I mean, consistency is key in these cars, and just being able to hold it onto a line, you may not be the quickest, but you will definitely be gaining positions in the end.
Oh yeah, and if you keep yourself out of, you can keep yourself out of trouble, and that'll really be the best thing. But to Blade and Moonstar's credit, the only thing they've had is that little bump that they had on turn 3, and other than that, that's it. And they've just been running their own race, and it's really paid off dividends for them in the end.
As we go back to our race leader here, Akash, I mean, just looking at it, it's such a familiar picture. The only thing that I would expect different is if Jordan Johnson was here, and then we'd see him right up ahead of him. It's just been one tough fought race for Dex and Lunar, but Akash has just managed to stick it on the pole and keep driving the way he's been driving it. It's exactly what Akash needs to do. Just needs to hold on to it.
So does this mean we're gonna have yet another Red Bull moment at the Red Bull Ring?
I mean, it certainly seems like a commonality, something we see a lot of, a good pattern.
I mean, it's been 3 F1 races. I have to make that joke.
But let's take a look. I just want to show you all in the audience the speed here of these cars coming through after the Niki Lauda curves, we're going to go on board with Cash here, and I'm going to show you the speed here on your bottom right-hand corner of the speed. I mean, already just looking over 230 kilometers per hour, and you just see how quick he is once he hits the brakes. Gets up to 253 kilometers per hour. I mean, that's some speed. Taking the corner at 70. I mean, wow. You really have to keep working to make that work, to make that stick.
Yeah, and it's just, now we're hitting almost, we almost hit 260. And now we're dropping back down almost a little over 100 as he goes a little wide.
I mean, you could just see the amount of skill it takes to hit every apex here. And look, he's hitting each one beautifully, coming through Rouch, going down into Worth. I mean, look at how he glides the car through the corners, not letting the rears come out too much and keeping it under a lot of control. Barely within track limits, but that's exactly what you have to do if you want to keep that lead.
Yeah, you just got to be consistent. You got to keep yourself out of trouble and hope you don't make any mistakes. As they come into the first corner, nice coming out of the corner.
Nice and smooth
now
through Red Bull Mobile, and through that's the start-finish line. What a lap.
Yeah, it's been really, Akash has been just on point, just keeping to their own race and really doing amazingly well.
Yes,
and
even with everything, like, with the lap times, I mean, Dex will have to really push if he wants it. As we come into the last 14 minutes here, we're at minute 46 here at the Red Bull Ring. And, I mean, it's been one heck of a race, but I think now these drivers, all that's on their minds is they just want to cross that line.
yeah, unfortunately, all the gaps that were,
Meanwhile, I see a note here. Dex went off the circuit. We'll see what happened to him. I think it was just a minor off track. Might have cut a corner, but we'll see what happened to him.
here he comes.
Schlossgold here, coming wide.
He went wide? I don't think he went wide.
think that's what they thought. He went wide, or was it here?
Oh, I think
Maybe.
yeah,
I think that's where it was. He had a decent off track right there coming into Rouch.
there.
No, I think it was before that. I believe he just went off track and our system pinged it out. I believe we see that Mo has actually had an incident earlier. Let's go ahead and take a look at that too. I think this was a few laps ago. So Mo coming through. This is Worth corner here. Coming through. Ooh,
on the
he
curve.
slides around and he gets it fully spin, and then from there he just has to recover. But I mean, thankfully, with the field spread out as it is, Mo didn't lose anything from that, but that's gonna affect the tires.
Yeah, that's really going to affect the tires, but thankfully he's going to have a lot more time to really kind of relax and fix it. As we see Danny go into pit lane.
Danny in pit lane. I believe that's a second pit stop? I don't believe we've seen him pit yet.
Oh,
I
so
haven't seen so.
Yeah, I think this may be his first stop.
yeah, I think
No,
you're
no,
right.
this is not his first stop. He has
It's
been
a
in the pits
drive-thru.
before.
A drive-thru?
It is a drive-through.
Did he? I didn't see anything come up on my time
I
screen. Did you?
believe that might have been iRacing flagging for going over the track limits too much, and he had to serve a drive-through penalty.
And that won't come up on our screens, unfortunately. So he must have just gotten a drive-through by iRacing, and he just went in to serve it. That's so unfortunate.
Might have been a lot of off tracks. Oh, he goes off track again.
Once again.
Oh, and meanwhile,
not
I mean,
helping
this is
him.
opening the door for Mo. Mo is only 5 seconds away from Danny, as you can see the back of the screen right now.
And all those people, I don't think anyone went for tires, and it's now biting them so hard.
Well, I believe Moonstar went, and Mo went for tires. But Danny, I don't believe in his first stop did.
Yeah, you're right. And James also did, but that was just due to the fact that he needed tires at that point. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, it didn't help him in the end. Ooh, little bit more snap oversteer coming into the corner.
It looks like Danny may be struggling just as James was. He's having a little bit of trouble again with the rears. Oh, going really wide. Oh, yes. Danny is struggling again. The tires are wearing out on him. It's almost as deja vu as we saw with James here just later
really
on.
Closing in. Mo is closing in that gap absolutely quickly. Already 2.2 seconds, actually.
Oh, he's lost almost a second and a half in a lap, and it's getting worse.
Yeah, I think something must be wrong, and it is. Ooh,
I mean, you
he went deep.
You could take a look from the gap. If you look at your bottom right-hand corner of the screen, I mean, if 5 laps ago, Danny was 30 seconds away from Mo. And now, Mo is within striking distance as he's within a second, possibly going to get the slipstream here.
I'm noticing that Danny is also going deeper because I'm seeing little puffs of dirt coming in as he goes and set himself up. As we see a Cash behind the two of them.
Yeah, Cash is behind the two of them. They're coming up, and it's going to be lapped, but there is a battle going on, so Cash is going to have to be aware of that. This may affect the race picture. We'll see.
Ooh.
We see Danny get swirly again, going deep, coming into Worth, wide on Apex.
Well.
Mo, however, unable to capitalize, might be making way for a Cash. No, Mo is not. Mo is continuing to fight. Coming through here, Rent, then Red Bull Mobile. We'll see if Danny can hold off for another 9 minutes. He's got 9 minutes to hold off Mo if Danny can. And this is for 4th place.
Yeah, and oh man.
Oh, a catch coming in deep as well.
Oh man, Mo thought Mo went to go make the move.
This is going to be very interesting. See, we see Mo catching up to Danny, but then a Cash right there. He's going to try and dive. A Cash is trying to dive into turn 1, trying to get past lap traffic. Mo has no choice but to let him by.
Yeah,
that's going to affect the race. But a Cash still needs to get past Danny as well. Danny will let him go. It looks like he's going to, but that leaves the room open.
At the cost of Mo.
Right behind, and they're back where they started. We're still fighting for 4th here.
Yeah, and I think I was honestly not expecting a Cash to do something like that, but then again, he's got 6 seconds to Dex, so I think he felt like if he sat there any longer, it would cause him. Ooh, I think Mo's. No, it wasn't Mo that went a little loose there, but I think a Cash is trying to also increase his gap to Dex as they come to Red Bull Mobile.
And they're coming down Rent here, then into Red Bull Mobile, coming down through there. Can Mo get a good jump? Well, he's got the slipstream. He has a decent jump. Will he try to dive into turn 1, into Niki Lauda curve? He swings on the inside. They're too wide. Danny's holding the position. He's holding wide. He's going to stay on the left side. He manages the defense just barely, but Mo is still side by side as they go through the straight, coming up Ramos. Who's going to be the last of the late breakers here? Is it going to be Mo? Is it going to be Danny? They're nose to nose coming into Ramos curve. Danny lets off the throttle a little bit. Will he try the switch back? He's going to, but it's not going to work. Mo is going to hold it just barely, and Mo makes the move work for 4th place here at the Red Bull Ring.
Oh man, we saw it was an inevitability at this point with Danny having traction issues. I think at this point Danny was just like, I can't hold it anymore. If I tried to make anything crazy, it would take them both out. And I think it was just Danny just conceding at this point.
A valiant effort, though, nonetheless. But Danny is not letting it go easily. He may be struggling a bit, but Danny's going to stick to Mo as much as he can. No one wants to give up 4th place, and so Danny's going to try his best to stay behind while still holding the car in. But again, we saw this before. Oh, Mo gets a bad exit. He has to go on the defensive. Danny on the left side coming into turn 1. They're still side by side. The battle is still on. Danny's going to back off. He's most likely trying to get the best run he can through here because this is where he passes. Mo has to go wide. Danny gets the left side, but they're side by side again. One more time coming into Ramos curve for 4th place. Let's see who's going to be the last of the late breakers. Is Danny going to hold outside? Danny's going to hold outside, but that's going to allow Mo to push on through. Meanwhile, Dex is right behind watching the action, and he has to let a cash go. But we come back here. Danny's still on the tail of Mo, giving him a little flash, trying to distract him. Going to the right, looking in the mirrors, but he holds off for now, and they're going to continue to battle here at the closing stages of this race. Wow, we did not expect to see this late, and here we are.
5 minutes to go, and it is bumper to
Oh,
bumper.
Mo
between
goes
these two.
really wide, coming to Roush, making him push up even closer, but Mo just has to keep the car in a place where Danny can't get by. But it's gonna be tough coming into the last few laps here. We have 5 minutes to go here at the Red Bull Ring.
Yeah, 5 minutes, and it's really a game of who saved their tires at this point. Ooh, Mo went away.
Danny, another move.
Danny.
We're gonna do this again coming into turn 1. Danny with the jump, but he's on the inside this time, not on the outside. Mo has to hold on the outside. Can Danny break late? Ooh, tries to cut in a little bit.
Squeeze.
Manages to hold it off. And there's Dex right behind. He can't do anything but watch as Danny and Mo fight for the end. Lunar, meanwhile, has to go into pit lane.
Huh?
Lunar
happened
is
to
in the
Lunar?
pits right now. I wonder if they have to splash and dash. Or if
It's
they had a
either-
drive-through. But anyway, the battle is here right now for 4th place again. Here we
Oh.
go again. Danny going to the left, trying to cut back right, trying to cut back left again, trying to make the move work.
Oh my God!
It's
boy.
squirrely. Coming through. Danny does not want to give this up. He is throwing the kitchen sink at Mo, trying to do whatever he can to get by. What a battle for 4th place here as they come down into Worth. Still on the back of Mo. Wow, what an amazing drive these drivers are having right now.
I
It's
can't believe
so-
what I'm watching right now, because
This
here
is
comes Danny.
insane.
Can he make... Can Danny
Danny's
make it
coming
into
down
turn
into
9?
red. They're side by
Down the
side.
inside!
Red-
Mo
yeah,
has
he
to
got it.
concede! Oh my goodness!
What a move by Danny, coming back to take 4th, and Mo is not gonna let that slide. This is gonna probably go to the end. We're gonna stick with these guys until they finally fight it out. They're throwing it all on the line, tooth and nail, for 4th place here. What an amazing display of racecraft from these two.
Yeah, they're not. It's bumper to bumper.
And Mo's
Squad-
going on the
Mo's
inside,
coming
coming
back.
into Ramus. Again, throwing it in there. Danny on the outside. He's still
he-
side by
On
side.
the curb, but gets enough traction.
Oh my goodness, they are neck and neck, nose to nose, bumper to bumper, through each and every corner. Coming into Schlossgold, Mo breaks deep. Danny comes back inside, trying for the switchback. He holds back just a little bit, but he still has just a little bit of room. Will he try the move or let him go? They're side by side going into
Oh
Roush,
my
coming
God.
down into Worth. They still want it. They don't want to
Oh,
give
Danny's
each other
wide.
an inch. Danny is just by, but by an inch. Mo is still
Aw.
right behind him, just letting him go for now. But there is still a couple of laps to go. We are on minute 58 here. Most likely 2 laps to go here in the race. But as Mo, I think, let him go for now, we shall see if they fight onward up until the checkered flag.
Meanwhile, credit to Dax. He's just been sitting in the back, probably with a bag of popcorn, just enjoying this show. Because he, despite being on the, having the opportunity to lap them, he's just sat back and let these two fight. And I will give him for great credit for this because it has been an amazing battle.
It has been absolutely amazing. Whoops, daisies. Excuse me for a second. We're here with a cash, though, as we're going to come through, I believe, what's going to be the final lap after this one. So everyone's going to get the white flag. We're going to switch back again to Mo. He's catching up to Danny. We're going to continue to have this fight here. It's not over until the checkered flag falls from Barney's hands. We're going to keep going here.
Yeah, and it's again bumper to bumper, back and forth with these two. It has been a never-ending battle. I think from, if I remember correct, from the very start of the race, it's just been these two going at it.
I mean, yes, Danny with the mistake there. Oh, Mo is
getting
just
it better.
on the bumper. His mirror is there. They're coming side by side. It's a rint. They are side by side. Danny has to hold the outside. He's still there. They're coming into Red Bull Mobile Corner.
Oh,
They're putting Danny just to hold on. Danny is still here. We are on the last lap. That is the white flag. This is it for fourth place. Danny and Mo battling it out, putting it all out there to see who can be fourth here at the Simufur LMP2 Championship. Here they come through Niki Lauda curve. He's pushing it. Danny wants it. Will he throw it to the inside of Ramus? We can only see as they come around the bend. He might hold off here and try and wait for the next move, which he does. He comes around here. Oh, but he gets a good jump. He's pushing it.
He's going to push it. He's going straight.
He's going straight through. Let's see if Mo throws it and defends. Danny's right on the bumper here. He's coming down and through. Oh, not quite. He's going to come up and around. And Mo is going to hold it just for a little bit, but not for too long. Oh, Danny wants it. Is he going to be a little bit more conservative? Oh, he tries to go
down the inside. Oh my goodness.
Inside.
The grass.
Oh, they almost make contact. Meanwhile, Akash is completing the race. He has won here today. But coming back to Danny, they are still side by side. Through Worth, coming into the penultimate corner in Rint. In Rint they come. This is for fourth place. They are side by side. Who's going to hold it? Danny almost loses it, but he holds it. Is he going to hold out for the last corner? He does! And Danny crosses the line in fourth to beat Mo in a spectacular finish here at the Red Bull Ring.
My God.
Oh my goodness.
What a race! What
That was
a
amazing.
battle for fourth, and Dex, meanwhile, comes behind them, watching the battle all the way for second. Lunar, he's gonna come across the line with Moonstar in front. Moonstar will take sixth place, and Lunar takes third. Wow! What an amazing battle! That was incredible!
That was a nail biter right to the very end.
They did not want to give each other an inch, and what spectacular driving. But credit to where credit is due. Akash here with the headline, taking his first win here at the Simufur LMP2 Championship. Congratulations, Akash. Well done. But again, the story of the day, the battle for fourth place, Danny and Mo. Danny managing to hold off Mo in an epic showdown all the way to the last lap.
That was, I think, the last 10 minutes, I want to say.
It was. So, just a note, as Akash does the celebratory donuts, we finished on lap 46. The battle started on lap 38. They were battling for 8 laps to decide who took fourth place. And wow, I could not have asked for a more spectacular finish.
I'm just going to say this. This is just, it reminds me of my first broadcasting job with Jordan Johnson. That one was chaos. Red Bull didn't disappoint. It did it here today.
It absolutely did, and I could not ask again for a better finish as we go over today to the final grid positions here at the Red Bull Ring. Wow, an amazing drive all around. Of course, your winner here today, Akash, of course, winning in convincing fashion. While 23 seconds behind, it would have been more about 6 seconds, but that battle after Lunar taking third place, fourth and fifth, the highlight of the entire race. Danny and Mo with a battle to the end. Danny coming out on top in the end, taking fourth place, and Mo with fifth. Moonstar behind with a nice consistent drive, holding sixth place, and Blade Wolf with seventh. And then, of course, James retiring after that devastating incident in eighth place. Dominique in ninth. Chloe with such a promising start, just having to park it at the beginning in 10th. And then, of course, Zim not starting today's race. But, wow, incredible. Amazing. Wow. And, I mean, let's just go back and just take a look at the big picture here. I mean, while Jordan Johnson has won all races here and a Cash finally take the win, I have to say, well done to Danny and Mo. The display of racecraft, absolutely incredible today.
Oh yeah, they put on a show. They were just fighting each other, but they were not really trying to squeeze. None of them really squeezed each other. It was just good old-fashioned racing. And I will also give credit to Dex. Dex, despite having I think getting a little bit of time on a Cash at the time, he just said, you know what, I'm just going to let this fight play out. He didn't do what a Cash did and just kind of get in the middle of it. And I think that was honestly the smart thing.
Yes, I can certainly understand, though, trying to get past. If you're in the lead or you're fighting for it, you definitely want to get as much of an advantage as you possibly can. But knowing where Dex was, I think at that point, Dex knew, I'm 6 seconds back. I know that I'm going to place here. It may have been a totally different story if Lunar was right behind. We honestly could have seen a four-way battle. But be that as it may, Dex with possibly the smart decision, take the place you have. And that's exactly what Dex did to take a very consistent second place, because Dex has been on the top podium quite a bit.
Yeah, I think the only one he hasn't been was, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Laguna?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's Laguna was the only one that he was not on podium.
We have to do our picks. So, Suzuka, driver of the day, who is your pick?
Honestly, it's just hard not to pick, Danny and Mo, but I gotta give it to Blade, to be honest, because while he was last of the finishers, he finished in 7th, which is not a bad position. He stayed consistent and he got the results out there.
Yes, and I would agree. Even with the contact between Moonstar and Blade managed to keep it going, and that says a lot about persevering and driving. What about you, Wolfin? What is your pick for today?
I have to give it to Mo, and it's for that amazing battle between him and Danny. He really kept the pressure on Danny that whole time. If Danny got by, Mo was right there with him. If he had passed Danny, he was making sure he was in his rearview mirror the whole time, keeping an eye on him and doing what he could to prevent him from getting by him.
And I would have to say for my pick, I actually have to give it to Moonstar for me. Moonstar, while with mostly an uneventful race, I mean, of course, that battle between Danny and Mo was absolutely iconic. But you can't argue gaining 3 spots. And just like Blade Wolf, keeping it consistent, and even with the spin, managing to keep it on track afterwards and get a nice, clean drive to the end. That takes, again, an amount of perseverance that you certainly need as a driver, and certainly has my pick. Wow, again, what an amazing event. What an amazing race. I believe we're going to be talking about that for quite a bit. What a battle.
Oh, man. If this doesn't wind up in a highlights reel, I'm going to be sad.
Well, that'll do it for us here in the broadcast booth. I have been Paliku'i Grant, that racing dragon, joined by Wolfin Foxdale and Suzuka Shark. And we have presented to you today the Simufur iRacing LMP2 Championship Round 4 at Red Bull Ring. We hope to see you guys next time, everybody. Have a good day and a good night.